This compute. All right, so I just want to confirm that this is your correct data.
Yeah.
And this is your correct chart.
Yeah. There is a chance because my mom said to me somewhere that between 4 and 4:30 p.m. But does mean a lot? No.
No, no. For the main things that we're going to discuss, it doesn't. But it's very subtle, the change. It will basically change something in color. So probably your digestion, if you were to get a health reading, probably digestive or something won't be exactly fixed. But what we're discussing here, it won't be affected at all, about half an hour.
Okay.
Okay, so you're a very typical manifesting generator. You have only the one manifesting generator channel connecting the two centers.
Mm-hmm.
And you're a sacral manifesting generator, and the 3420, the complete channel, is mostly unconscious. You do have the gate 20 in both conscious and unconscious. Okay. So to start from the beginning, as a manifesting generator, you might feel like you are drawn in many places at once. Multitasking, feeling inspired by different things, starting different projects, this sort of energy. Oh, you're also the cross of, okay. I'm just noticing things on your chart as I'm looking through it. And your authority is the sacral. You have pure sacral authority. Now, the sacral authority, normally, you recognize it by a deep aha or or a yes, as energetic yes towards something, or an energetic no towards something. But your sacral is defined to the 3420. I always tend to make fun of this channel because they are always busy.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not busy with the outside world, they're busy with their inner process. This is a lot about self-empowerment, and this is a lot about, it's a bit of a non-social energy because it's about you and yourself and empowering yourself and doing what you want, doing what you feel called to. And it might cause some frustration and some anger, especially when people get in your way.
Mm-hmm.
When something sparks you and you go creatively or energetically all through in your moment, in your now, and somebody comes in and tells you how you should do things or what you should do instead, it will bring out frustration or anger.
Mm-hmm.
And this channel in particular doesn't actually work with yes or no's. It works in strong energy to do something or very low energy, I'm not doing that. It's much more energetic felt. People with this channel can literally go from 0 to 100 within seconds, but backwards the same. From 100 energy to I'm not doing it at all in a couple of minutes.
Okay.
And this is the channel that defines you most as a manifesting generator. It's the only channel you have purely defined. It's the only manifesting channel in the whole chart. So everybody else who's a manifesting generator without that channel, they're not pure manifesting generator. They have a different way of processing. You are a very pure manifesting generator.
Okay, what exactly does it mean? So
that means specifically that you have to allow yourself to be guided by the now. And it works in two ways. One, responding to life. So when something comes your way, regardless if it's somebody suggesting something or if it's just something showing up, like, oh my gosh, I don't know, I want to buy this new art project and I want to do it. You can listen to that impulse and keep going, because it will go into something. It will be fruitful, but it's only in the moment. If you are this, because the 20 is the gate of now. So this energy works in the moment. And when you are in the moment, it would be useful to inform other people. I'm in my process, don't disturb me. Because just as easy as you go in the moment, just as easy you can be dragged out and feel frustrated that you got dragged out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, so an example I can give you, I also have the 3420. An example I can give you, I got inspired one day to create a set of cards for all the human design gates. They are reflection cards. They have the archetype of the gate and some questions, and I got inspired to do that. I did it all in 2 days. I had to inform people that I'm doing this, don't bother me. I don't have time for anything else. I'm fixed right now. I have to do this. It didn't pan out anything of it because I don't have copyright for all the photos I used, and I'm still waiting for somebody to show up with an artistic skills to change those things so I can actually do something with it. But the energy of the moment, that's how it is. You can't stop it. It comes, the inspiration comes to you, you respond to it. Yes, you're fully energetically drawn to it, and you're gonna keep going, keep doing. And it's very bothering when somebody interferes.
Okay, I understand.
Does it resonate with you?
Yeah, makes sense. And I'm very frustrated if I don't have a time. So if I don't have a time to do something right now, I'm never gonna do it.
Yes. Yes. If you get the inspiration in the moment and you can't do it in the moment, it basically flats out. I no longer respond to what ifs. So somebody tells me, what if we organize an event next week? Yeah, tell me next week about it.
Yeah.
I don't know in what mood I'll be next week. I can tell you this, yes, now, because right now I would feel totally drawn to do a event with you. But next week I might be doing something completely different, and I might not want to be there, and I will be very spiteful if you force me to be there.
Yeah, but also like sometimes I make decision to actually organize something, and if it's month away, I already lost the energy for it.
Yes, and also initiating for us is very difficult. So I don't know how it works out for you, but for me, every time I initiate, it badly goes down. Like I initiated a course recently, learn to read your own chart. In the moment I put it out, I had a great response. Like within an hour, tens of people responded, and I was like, okay, it's working. On the day one, I didn't have that energy anymore, and second, one person joined.
Wow.
So when we initiate, it flops dramatically. If we're not able to initiate in the moment, in time, our energy changes because it's in the moment energy. In time, our energy changes. And obviously how people react to us changes because our energy changed. There's very few people who understand this. So you might want to, you don't have to try to make it fit, but you might want to try to notice how you feel around other manifesting generators, because I'm noticing that working with people who get this, it's very helpful. I have a friend who runs, for example, podcast, and when she wants to invite me on her podcast, she would go, do you have time right now? Here's the invite. It's recording when you start.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I'm very, very like I'm just literally realizing like if like, okay, let's do something, I'm going to do it now. Otherwise, I won't do it. Seriously. It's just like literally slap me in my face right now.
Yes, yes, and it goes away. It's pretty much like, when you get inspiration and you want to create something, it feels like if you don't do it now, it sort of goes away.
Yeah, yeah, and I try to recreate. For example, I'm a coach and intuitive coach. So basically, I'm walking on the streets and something come up to me in my head, and I said, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna make a post." And if I don't record it, the post never gonna happen because everything what I had in me is gone.
Yes, I'm the same. I'm exactly the same, and that's a 3420. That's the energy of it. It comes in the moment, it comes momentarily, it's very strong, it's very powerful because the 34 is the gate of power connected to the gate of now. So it's a lot of power, a lot of inner knowing in the now. It's connected to the gut, so it's a strong gut feeling that this is the right thing to do. But if I can't do it in the moment, it's
Gone.
done.
Yeah.
I might as well make my peace with it if I can't do it in the moment.
Yeah, because I beat myself if I don't do it, but later on, when I sit down and try to do it, it's not happening.
Yeah, and you can't recreate the conditions I tried to.
No.
Yeah, I tried to.
Okay.
What's useful and what works for me is to create in the moment where I feel drawn, and don't use them straight away. So I have drafts saved when I felt in the moment of being creative, because sometimes you get into that moment and it pours out easily, effortlessly, and I create like 3 or 4 posts completely effortlessly. And there's other times where I know I haven't posted in a week, but I stare at the screen and nothing.
The same.
So that's how I'm addressing the situation. When I feel inspired and I can create more, I create more. So then when the moment comes where I have completely zero inspiration and I can't do it, it's not in the moment, I'm directed to something completely different, I can tap in and just share one of those.
Yeah, I started to record my thoughts recently, and I can make them out of I can make a post out of it or write something inspired by.
You can also use directly, you record your thoughts and you can directly use a speech to text feature.
Do you have any particular one? Because I have not found a good one.
Honestly, mostly I'm using the free ones from Google.
Oh, okay.
The Google text-to-speech. It's not perfect, but it's much easier to correct some grammar than to write a whole thing myself. Because I do the same. I record myself speaking.
Perfect. Yeah, cool. Yeah.
It's easy when I'm out and about and inspiration hits. I can't sit down to write a post. I just record it and then I use a text-to-speech too.
Perfect. Okay.
Now, your profile is the 4-6. It's you're going through 3 phases in life. A lot of people who are 6-liners describe that they are experiencing 3 different lives. I had many customers with 6-liners. For the first 30 years, you're basically a 3rd-liner, which is trial and error and bonds made to be broken. So most likely changing a lot of professions, changing relationships, changing friendships, changing where you live, changing a lot of things. And that's a normal part of the process. You have to go to the trial and error. After the trial and error in the first 30 years, from around 30, from the Saturn returns till 50 Chiron returns, you are on the roof. That's how it's called, the phase of life. And if you can imagine specifically being on the roof of a building, everything seems sort of distanced. Every problem seems sort of smaller. And you can have a wider picture. You can see what happens from above. And
Mhm.
this is the space where one, you're pretty much like a cat on the roof, cleaning themselves and healing from their own wounds from the first 30 years of trial and error. But also it's the space in your life where you begin to learn from other people's mistakes, because you have such a broad picture view. And you can learn from other people's mistakes as well, not only through your own. And what's interesting about being on the roof is that it all depends how you end up there. Because if you end up there after your trial and error, feeling like you're ready to learn from mistakes, like feeling like in an optimistic way, the roof part would feel the most stable part of your life. But if you entered the roof part in turbulations and feeling guilty, shame, or whatever over the mistakes you did in the first 30 years, you'd first go through a healing period on the roof where you would have to reconnect to yourself. So you might feel a bit in a hermit position. You don't have a lot of hermit energy in your chart. You have some second gates, but not many. But it will depend on how you end up on the roof, how long you hermit, and how long you draw in to cater for the mistakes that happen naturally in the 30 years. It usually depends on parenting, because if the parents usually celebrate the child's mistakes, then the child will end up on the roof ready to learn from their mistakes. But if the parent shames and punishes the child for their mistake, the role model, the sixth line, arrives on the roof punishing and feeling shame and guilt for their own mistakes. And from 50 onwards, you will step down on the roof and you will be the role model, the wise woman that people follow and people come to for advice. But there will be still a distance between you and people. So you have to imagine like the village wise woman who stays on the hill under a tree and people come all the way up to her to ask for advice. She's not in the middle of the people talking to them and giving them advice. She waits for people to come to her to give that advice. That's how the sixth line role model is. And whenever somebody's talking about the role model, they say, that saying, do what the church says, not what the church does. Do what the role model says, not what the role model does. But that's not entirely true, because the role model personality, the role model profile, in order to become the role model, has had to go to trial and error. In order to become the role model, has had to take the time to heal. In order to get there, they had to go through a long process. They're not born the role model. They are created through their life experiences as the role model. And I also notice a lot of people who are role model profile, they experience a bit of anxiety as they approach 50. Because the anxiety that's happening is the sensation that you are being drawn down from the roof. And the fear is that the world will be like it was in the first 30 years. I'm going back to trial and error. I'm going back to bonds made to be broken. I'm going back to the chaos I experienced in the first part of my life. And they tend to experience an anxiety. It tends to be very dramatic. It tends to come with life changes, profession changes, relationship changes. It tends to be very visible in the life of the sixth liner, and it tends to come up with a bit as I told you, with some anxiety. And considering you have all 3 awareness centers open, I would guess that you're quite familiar with anxiety. I will discuss open centers soon. But that happens, and the awareness of that is to know that you are not going back to the same place. You have learned through the trial and error. You have taken time to heal, and you're not the same person going down into the ground like you were in the first 30 years of life. That's the wisdom of it. Now, the 4th line personality is the opportunist. And the opportunist is the most influential and contagious person there is. But they are influential and contagious in their own network. So how this person works is they don't find jobs in a newspaper. They don't find relationships on Tinder. They have somebody introduce them to something. I'm gonna introduce, oh, you want to do, I don't know, that thing. I have a friend who does that thing. You should meet each other. That's how it works for the 4th line profile. It's also said that the 4th line profile probably never meets a stranger in their life because everybody is an extension of their network. So they don't go out of their network to find new people. Each new person that comes in, it's an extension of their current network. Somebody knows someone who can put you in contact with someone. That's how it kind of goes. Like you met me today through Marie. It's an extension of the network. That's how the 4th line functions. That's how the 4th line goes around. And yeah, this is your profile. I discussed your authority. I'm going to discuss your cross of incarnation. The cross of incarnation is your purpose and why you're here. And I don't usually discuss the cross of incarnation at the beginning. I go through not self-centers, but your cross of incarnation is the sleeping phoenix. And this is a very specific one that I feel the need to address. As you know, the phoenix is a mystical creature that dies and it's reborn from its ashes. And it's an immortal creature that is mystical. Now, the sleeping phoenix cannot die because it's sleeping. So these people usually with this cross of incarnation have to wake up, like spiritually wake up, only to experience ego death. So only to die. They wake up spiritually and then they feel a complete dissolution of the reality, a complete distortion of the real world. And after that period, they actually step into their power. They are reborn and they are able to step into their power. So if you experience, especially being on the roof, if you experience such moments that everything seems like it's falling apart, it's part of your cross of incarnation. It's part of the process that you will naturally go through. And it's mostly meant to make you more comfortable with showing up in vulnerability.
Okay. Could you say a couple of things more? Because I really want to understand. This sleeping phoenix really resonates with me. It just makes me feel like, oh my God.
Yeah, this is also, that's why I decided to talk about it. This is also the cross of incarnation that we were going to step in globally, all of us in 2027. So the people, especially the 6-liners who already have this cross of incarnation, will be majorly awakened. So you will feel a drawn to do something, a draw, if you're a coach, a draw to help people, a draw to offer your services more. You might also feel a draw to offer your services for free, which will not benefit you, because you also have the 44 line that works for appreciation. But you might feel a strong impulse, a strong pressure kind of thing, that to offer your gifts, to offer your guidance. because the sixth line is here to guide, to be the role model. And the cross of sleeping phoenix goes through exactly like the sixth line, goes through these three phases. They are asleep, and asleep, usually they are workaholics. Usually when they are asleep, the sleeping phoenix, they are most useful for society. They are busy for whatever it is they think they should do. They are people pleasers when they are asleep. Then the awakening happens and they go into a self-empowerment phase. It might be not pleasant for them also because they might have to look at wounding and traumas and things like this, but they suddenly see that life is about themselves, not about pleasing others. And that's when they fully awaken. That's when the whole process starts to happen. And yeah, ego, that might actually be a thing because you have an open ego and you might feel the need to completely surrender the need of self-affirming promises, and you might feel the need to let go of that part. And pleasing others and responding to others and creating support. You might feel a draw to work on yourself, for a part. And then also like the sixth line, the phoenix is reborn in their own power. It works very similar to the sixth line, this cross of incarnation. And it's pulling towards vulnerability because it has the gate 59. You have your personality signs here. It's in the gate 59, and that's the gate of vulnerability. It's the gate that tries to, you might have been for a long part of your life very uncomfortable with showing up vulnerable. You might have been very guarded. You might have hidden aspects of yourself and not share them with others. But this whole experience, it makes you show up more vulnerable. It makes you show up more full. It makes you own up your emotions and whatever is going through. And
Makes
then you,
a lot of sense.
yeah. And the gate 55, also part of your incarnation profile, is the gate of spirit. So it's a spiritual awakening. It's a let go and trusting in your intuition. Like you said, you do intuitive coaching. Yeah, the process of getting to trust that intuition is part of this sleeping phoenix process.
Wow. Crazy. I'm literally going through that's change, that spiritual awakening at the moment. Sharing my life with others, doing and helping others, and of course, 100% I want to do for free, but doesn't serve me.
Yes. I'm going into the open centers right now because you have a lot of them. You have 7 open centers, and I will address the 3 awareness centers first. So there's 3 awareness centers in the body graph. There's the ajna. This is pretty much the third eye. And when it's open, it's literally an open mind. It's quite literally an open mind, means that you're not certain. You don't see things in black and white. Everything is a shade of gray. Everything is somewhere in between. And that's the beauty of it. The not self theme of the open ajna is pretending to be certain. Because you see other people around you that are very certain and very convinced in what they say, and you would think, I should be more like them, and you start pretending to be certain. But the truth is, you have a gift in having an open mind and being able to see both faces of the coins.
Sure.
And you have to recognize this in yourself, and you have to allow it to happen. But the open ajna is also a source of mental anxieties. So overthinking, doubting more so than overthinking, because this is conceptualizing, finding answers, responding to questions. So a lot of overthinking and reprocessing over and over again will happen. Then another awareness center is the solar plexus. This is emotional awareness. And this is very interesting one because you literally take in other people's emotions. Everybody who has an open solar plexus is basically an empath, but they might not be aware of it because they take in other people's emotions and they amplify them, and they might perceive like that it's their own emotions. And actually others might tell you, you are over dramatic, you are over emotional, you are too much, because you amplify them and it feels uncomfortable to them. On your own, you'd be as cool as a cucumber, no problem, no heightened emotions. But when you are in contact with someone, you might feel as over emotional, you might feel as if you are suddenly spiking up emotionally. And the awareness, the wisdom of this is to be aware that it's not you, it's the other. And sometimes just acknowledging it, it's enough. Sometimes I just say, you're feeling angry. I tell the other person you're feeling angry. They might even deny it, but I recognize that it's not me. And I already distance myself enough so I don't amplify it.
Right stuff, yeah.
The not self theme of the open solar plexus is avoiding confrontation, and we avoid confrontation to avoid the emotions connected to the confrontation. But usually confrontations can't be avoided and they just blow up in our faces. And it's this is also emotional anxiety. So it's not self-esteem, it can feel quite uncomfortable many times. And the third awareness center is the spleen. Now, this is intuition. The fact that you have it open, it means it's interesting because you have it open, but you have 4 gates connected to it. So it's going to be still a bit specific. It means that your intuition is not coming in the same way every time. So sometimes you might just know something, sometimes you might notice something. So intuition would be coming to you through different sources. It's not going to come in the same pattern every time. And that makes it very hard to connect to it, to trust it, because it doesn't come in a pattern. You might doubt it because of this. This is also the center of survival anxiety. So you might feel like if you don't hold on to certain people, if you don't hold on to certain habits, if you don't hold on to certain routines, you might feel like you're in danger. It will give you real anxiety to let go of things that you've been doing for many years. It would give you actual anxiety to let go of people you had close to you for many years. The undefined spleen really needs to hold on to something that defines it. It's also the center of the immune system, and it means that your immune system needs to be trained. So you benefit from minerals, vitamins, you benefit even from getting sick because your immune system is getting trained.
Amazing.
All right, there's you have both pressure centers open as well, which means pressure is not really good for you, and they're completely open, so they don't have any gates attached to them. The root is the pressure to be free. So the main problem of the root center is the fact that you can't relax until you finish work. Don't play before we finish work. Don't relax before we finish work. And you're in a constant pressure to finish something so you can be free. But that never happens. That always something else showing up. The wisdom of it is to take time to ground, because that energy, that pressure needs to be grounded, and having a practice of meditation and setting it as a task so you can actually do it, it's very important. Or taking time once a week to go in nature and ground will be also very helpful. But having to ground that pressure, it's very important, because otherwise you end up spinning in circles. And the other center, pressure center, is the head, is the mental pressure, and it's the pressure to solve other people's problems. Just like I said about the solar plexus, that people with an open solar plexus are basically empaths and they feel other people's emotions. People with an open head basically can hear other people's thoughts, but they're not necessarily aware of it. They might think that the thoughts that come in, they're their own. The questions, the problems that come in, they're their own. But it comes on from all your environment, for everyone around you. And it's the pressure to solve other people's problems. If somebody brings in a problem, you make it your own. And you assume responsibility. And it's not only responsibility, it's a deep pressure to solve that. You can't actually do anything until you know that you solve that person's problem, until you fix that thing. And the not self team is also thinking about things that don't matter. I tend to make fun of it. It's not funny, but yeah, I tend to make fun of this, because I'm saying that's why there's still world hunger in the world, because we have a clear problem that matters, but we have 75% of the population with an open head thinking about things that don't matter and solving other people's problems first before they fix the big elephant in the room. And this might happen to you as well. You might solve other people's problems before you solve your own. You might put other people as a priority in spite of your own. Now, the good thing about the head center, especially an open head center, as you notice, the head center is the only center that's slightly outside of the body. It's half of it is outside. Now, that's because it's literally, the energetics are literally a bit above. And it can connect to inspiration. It can find inspiration from different sources. It can connect to other people and receive inspiration from them. It can receive inspiration from the environment directly. It can receive inspiration in many different formats. All literature, everything we have in any library comes from an open mental center. The next one, this is a motor center. So is the root. The root is both pressure and motor, but the ego is a purely motor center. And it's about willpower, self-worth, egoism. Yeah, and it's a lot connected to the financial world. It's a lot of it connected to the material world. It's a very tribal energy. Out of the 4 gates that are in the ego, 3 of them are tribal. So it's a lot about support. You might need support. You do have some tribal hanging gates, the 44, the 27, the 59. You might feel like you need support, both business-wise, because as I said, you tend to do things for free with the 44. The 44 works for appreciation. The 44 is willing to work for pats on the back. But the 44 also becomes very spiteful. If they worked for free, if they worked for appreciations and they don't receive the appreciation, they feel like they gave their gifts for nothing. But the 26 on the other side, you would be looking to meet people who have the 26 on the other side, because the 26 will be able to monetize those gifts. It's going to be connected to the ego, and they're going to be connected with the material value. How much what you're doing with the 44 is worth. how much can we do it with it. The full channel, the 4426, is the channel of transmission, and there's no transmission without monetary support. I know something I won't tell unless you pay me. That's the kind of energy of this whole channel. But in you having an open ego means that you might have to deal with imposter syndrome, means that you might have to deal with not knowing your full worth, and means that when other people tell you how great you are, you might feel like, oh, me? Are you sure we're talking about the same thing? You might not recognize yourself in what people say and see in you. And that's entirely normal. But the wisdom of it is to know that you are here to see worth in others. In an ideal world, the open ego would set the prices. In an ideal world, it would be the open ego who puts prices on things because they could see the real worth of things and can be able to tap into that. And you can help people as a coach recognize their actual worth. You can help people step in what they are because you would be able to see it for them. And the last center, this is a very interesting center because it's the center where the magnetic monopole is held. It's the magnet that holds together this side of things, the black side, to the right side, the red side. And why is it important? Because it's a magnetic monopole. It never repels, it only attracts, and it sets us up on our direction in life. It gives direction and love. 4 gates in it are all about love, and 4 gates in it are all about direction. So it sets us up with what people we meet, what direction we go. It sets us up for the serendipity of things. And you having this open, the not self team is always looking for love and direction, always looking for a direction from others, waiting for others to tell you what to do, or waiting for love to come from outside, looking for the perfect person to show up from outside. The wisdom of the open center is the fact that you can't reach that. You can't reach love outside of yourself. Love comes from self-love, from being able to be comfortable within yourself. And that you are not here to have a clear direction. You are here to guide others. This is also the identity center. And as I said, all open centers amplify someone else's energy. So you might feel a bit chameleonic. You might feel like you interact with different people differently according to their personality, not your own. You're not faking it, although people might think that you are because they would see you different. You're not faking it. It's something that's actually happening. You're actually picking up pieces of their identity and amplifying it back to them. It's very useful, especially as a coach, because you'd be able to interact on the same level. And that's the wisdom of this center. You also have the 46 conscience. The 46 is the love of the body. And despite the fact that it's also a source of anxiety, because obviously when it's the love for the body, anything that can harm the human body is a source of anxiety, accidents, bad health, bad food, anything can be a source of anxiety for the 46. But they are also healers and body workers. So regardless if we're talking yoga, doctors, or anything else, these are people who have a deep fascination on how to change the physiology of the human body, make it more, move energy more smoothly, basically.
Yeah, I'm also a healer and Reiki practitioner.
Yeah. I was going to mention Reiki between the practice, but yeah, the 46 would definitely play a role. So yeah, this is the major things about your chart. you have a defined throat, which means you have an easy way to express yourself and manifest, but that I already discussed with the 3420. That's how it will come out. It will come out in spontaneous, very spontaneous, in the now, things that you have to share.
Okay, so do you think that according to my chart, the throat chakra would be my power in a sense to express and be in life?
Considering your chart, the most important thing is for you to honor the 3420. So when you are in that energy, to really honor it, because that's what defines you most, the 3420. So honor it in the best way you can, be in the moment, allow it to happen in the moment. But your biggest sources of wisdom are everything you have open, everything I discussed open.
Okay.
Because if you, I see it like this, everything that's colored in is who you are. It's the student. It's the student that comes here in this life to learn. And everything that's open, it's the lessons that they are here to learn.
Okay.
So yeah, you are here to trust your inspiration. You are here to have an open mind. You are here to trust your intuition. You are here to feel what others are feeling, to recognize that their true value, and to give them guidance and direction. These are all things that you might not have been able to do 20 years ago, because these are things that will have to go through their not self-team, and they will have to go to the hardness of learning. But this is the wisdom that you're going to develop in life, and that you are here to share with others and monetize.
Yeah.
Money and business wise, they never come to the defined centers. They always come to the open centers, to the wisdom we have to share.
Okay. So the my career would be would be in coaching and in healing in this case, yeah?
Yeah. Mostly coaching, I would say it fits, because of all your openness. The more people have open centers, the more better they are for coaching, because the deeper they're able to feel the other.
Mm-hmm.
But be careful with your aura. As a manifesting generator, your aura is open and enveloping. So we don't have natural boundaries. Other profiles have natural boundaries that keep others energetically at a distance. We don't have that. So you literally bring in and develop everybody who comes towards you. And we have to set our own boundaries. We have to be able to listen to our sacral, in your case, and say no when something feels not right. Because otherwise, yeah, aura-wise, you don't have any boundaries. You have to set them up yourself.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Would you be able to tell me a bit more about my health, if possible?
Let me see if I have the colors here. I don't think it has the colors. No, this app doesn't have the colors. I will, you know what I'm gonna do? I will invite you in, I have a private community that I'm running, and I invite everyone who does a chart reading, if they have any questions. They have a month free in the community, and in the community I'm going on live voice calls without video every day at different hours for different time zones. So I answer people's questions, just to answer people's questions. And I will move your chart to another app, so I don't take your time now and do it. I'll move it to another app and find out your colors. Anyway, you are a fourth line personality. So most likely, most treatments would work for you. The fourth line is the most contagious, but it's also the more open to different aspects of healing. So regardless if you use alternative medicine or regular medicine, it might work for you at different times, different things. But you are the most, how can I say? the most contagious. If you have a flu and somebody comes near you, the chances are they will get it too, because the fourth line has this aspect of bringing other people in, and regardless if it's for the good or for the bad.
Okay. Wow. Okay, so if I will join, when I will join the group, you will be able to look into the chart.
Yes, I need to move it on another app, and I just reinstalled my Windows yesterday, and I have to reinstall this. The one online doesn't have the whole detailed reading, so I can't read the colors.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send you here the invite. I hope it's still in my, no, it's not. Chat. I'm gonna send you here the invite for the community. We're also discussing the gene keys in the community, because there's a lot of interest around them.
Okay.
Okay, do you have any questions? You're gonna have time plenty to ask questions in the community.
Okay.
That's why I'm offering this, because I know that once I give you now an overwhelming amount of information, you might need time to let it settle, and you might need to look over your notes, and questions might not come instantly right now. And I'm offering people a 30 period time, because questions will show up later on.
Yeah, you know, I truly feel in my, as you said, sacral chakra is very important for me, and it's talking from me actually. So I have this feeling that I'm in the process of another change, another a transformation.
Yes.
So makes a lot of sense, and including me being more open with my throat, which really came suddenly out of nowhere.
You are actually in the 3.5 years before your Chiron returns. So the cycle of 7 years starts 3.5 years before the Chiron return. So you might start feeling the pull towards the role model. You might start feeling the pull towards going off the roof. You might start feeling that anxiety that I talked with you about now, because you're exactly 3.5 years before. And it will go on till your 50th birthday, so for 3.5 years, and then differently, but for another 3.5 years, you'll be able to process that.
Okay, amazing. Wow, thank you so much.
No problem. I hope it was helpful.
Yeah, it really confirms so many things for me, because you know, as you said, I have the intuition and I have things, but at the same time, I could not believe into it really. So it was just like, oh, well, this is happening. Oh, that's really happening. This is what I feel. This is real what I feel.
Yes,
So
it feels very weird, especially the open intuition center and the open emotional center.
yeah, and what you just said as well, that my intuition comes from different ways, plus I'm able to adapt very easily and talk the language of the person that I speak with is. So, you know, it's really like the human design really blow my mind.
Yes, it has that. It's weird to realize that we come with instruction manuals. It's very weird.
Yeah.
I needed a long time to come to terms with that.
Exactly. Amazing. Thank you so much. I won't take much of your time.
Thank you.
So see you in the community, yeah?
Yes, sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.